You got your AIU plate, you got your kale quinoa salad, you got some gluten and potatoes, you got your curry chana. Check that out right there.
Who is AIU?
AIU is the Abundance in Ujamaa Movement, a community of passionate brothers and sisters, passionate about collective economics, improving our community. Today, we're honoring the women, uplifting our women. They must be held at the highest regard. We must give them the respect always. Peace and power, family. I'm Yomi Love, my brother Kemba.
Hey, Uhuru, peace. Amani Nanguvu, welcome to another one of the AIU events, man. Waiting to get started. Today we are recognizing, showing appreciation for Black women. It's International Black Women's History Month. So we're going to have a powerful event. Just looking forward to getting started. So peace and power.
Just got to check out all of these beautiful books.
Yeah, Uhuru. Yeah. We're part of an organization called the International People's Democratic Uhuru Movement. It's a mass organization for the African working class that works under the leadership of the African People's Socialist Party. It was put into play in 1991 in Chicago, the city of Fred Hampton, to fight the counterinsurgency war that the U.S. government was waging against our movement from the 1960s. And our responsibility was to combat the counterinsurgency and win African people back to revolutionary political life. And we were all over the country. We in Africa, we in England, we in Germany. We all over, wherever Africans are, we're trying to organize our people back into political life so we can win our freedom and independence here around the world, and of course to liberate Africa from the colonizers. So that's our mission.
Ashe, we give thanks, brother. What's your name?
Orande Lumumba Shakur.
So the question is, why is it important for melanated people to know about more information, more science? First and foremost, Prophet Noble Drew Ali came and he basically did a holler in 1913. He was letting the people here in North America know they were missing certain essential truth that were pertinent to them as a people, to be recognized as a nation of people. He brought nationhood to North America. Why? Because in 1774, those people were stripped of a nationality. They were labeled Negro, Black, and Colored, Ethiopian, etc. The issue with that is, no other nation is going to recognize you as a people. So now, we're not a color, we're not Black, we're not Negro. So whether it be the Spanish demonstration in calling us Negro, Black basically from the German, Ethiopian, etc., we as a people need to be more conscious as to who we are. If we do not honor our fathers, who were basically Moors, the issue now becomes you're in a fallen state, and all other nations recognize that and know that. So the Prophet Noble Drew Ali brought the nationality of the Moors here in North America back, which is what? Moorish Americans. He also brought them their religion. In the Constitution, it's talk about those same people, the melanated people, being considered and classified as 3/5 of a person. So what's the other 2/5? Every nation have what? Their religion and their nationality. So he made us whole again. You understand? That's the beauty of Moorish science. So it's not a demonstration where we act up. He said we're what? Law-abiding citizens. We are part and parcel of this said government. Okay? So with that being said, he brought us a divine government. That divine government is actually incorporated and locked into what? The Constitution here in America. So he said what? Enforce the Constitution. In the Constitution, you have what is called what? The freedom of religion. The First Amendment. So through your religion, you get to what? Express yourself anciently. In Islam is just a religion of peace. We never separate. Man's God was what? The laws by which him or her live. Those are called the Sharia law, for instance, when you look at it from the Eastern demonstration. But in essence, we are the gods embodied in this physical being. So if you don't have those universal principles, i.e. love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice, being the pinnacle at your core, we're not in a fallen state practicing hate against each other. We don't listen to each other. So we now be what? Divided, you fall. So humanity has fallen because we're practicing hate among each other in that fallen state. So again, as melanated people of all these different hues, the Prophet Noble Drali in his 101 question, the way he described our pigmentation was what? Olive. We are the Asiatic nation, and with olive, you have light olive, dark olive, and you get what I'm saying? And the in-between. So the entire hue and the beautiful, all these different pigmentation and expression. So with that, my good brother, I trust that I answered your question. I'll yield the floor to the demonstration as well of our assistant branch out of California, so he can bring his portion. Islam?
I just want to comment back on what the brother said. Beautiful demonstration. It brings us back into the fold of humanity. It brings us back into the missing aspects that was taken away from us due to chattel slavery and the Western education that we received in school. So to answer your question, what is the importance of the knowledge of being a Moorish American? It's the study of yourself. It puts you back in line with who you are and your true divinity. Just to give a little insight on what the brother already said.
Economic exploitation. This happens under the system of colonial capitalism and racism and patriarchy. And so it's important, because these things happen, that we know everybody's not having these conversations at home. And they're not having these conversations in the public school systems or private school systems, the American school system. So it's our job to have these conversations at home, but because everyone's not having these conversations, we have to create institutions and programs to address this neglect, this erasure of Black women.
Power of the Black women, the power of loving the Black woman, and I'm one of the co-founders of the AIU movement, so we definitely stand for that, and me and my brother Kemba will be hosting today. We're gonna let the sisters sit back, we want you all to enjoy yourselves. The man cannot exist without the woman. The original trinity, of course, is the Black man, the Black woman, and then the Black child.
That's not really given enough shine, that's not really given enough recognition, that's not really properly studied for us to take example from her so that we can learn how to move forward in our current lives. So it's important that we do celebrate Women's History Month every day, 365 days a year. It's important for us to be abreast on who we are in relation to our environment and in relation to the times that we're in. I was raised Orthodox Muslim. I'm a Nigerian by birth, and a Nigerian Muslim is that, and I was raised in that box. However, unknown to me, that box never fit. I didn't know why. I would always ask questions, and it will always be kind of like, how dare you? It's blasphemy. You shouldn't ask. So for me, I was craving something that I wasn't really getting fed. Like, I was hungry for knowledge, but I wasn't being provided that. I'm the kind of person who you can't tell me, oh, don't touch that, it's hot. I'm like, yeah, you're right, but I'm still gonna touch it because I wanna know the shit is hot. That's just who I am. So for a long time, when I, in particular, like during my teenage and young adult years, I was really lost in darkness because there was something missing, but I could not figure out what it was. And the root that I thought I had in Islam was not strong enough because I really didn't have true knowledge and understanding of what it is that I professed, that I was a part of. So it wasn't until one day I was driving to work and a brother on the corner with a Final Call newspaper came up to my window, and something about his energy, he was just like, here, just really, really casual, but I noticed him because he was a well-dressed Black man in a corner of the street in the hood part of Buffalo. So he stood out to me. So he invited me out to the mosque, and for weeks it was like, okay, yeah, whatever. But again, like there was this hole and there was this feeling in my heart that I just couldn't put my finger on it, but I just did not feel complete. So one day it was just like, just go. And I went to the mosque in Buffalo, New York. And that was the first time in my life that everything in an instant made sense. It was like the hole I had in my heart. It was like, in that moment, the brother minister, it felt like he was speaking to me, because at that time, my challenge was just not understanding Islam, but it was like, how does Islam pertain to me as a woman in America trying to make a difference for my people? And I felt like Islam did not provide me answers for that, even though what I'm saying right now, I didn't know that's what I was craving. So once I got into the Nation of Islam, they gave me so much knowledge, but the thing that they gave me that was the most profound was the courage to ask why. Because prior to that, it was like blasphemy to ask why. If you're reading the Quran and you don't understand something, you want to ask a question, it was kind of like I always got this negative reaction. So that started my journey. I didn't stay with the Nation. That was just one part of my journey, but they opened the door for me. And once I had that courage to ask why and my heart was open, everything slowly but surely started to fit into place. So what I would say to anyone who had those similar type of feelings, who felt disconnected, I think it's important to understand that the Creator is in everything and is in everywhere. So therefore the ears are everywhere. And you just have to ask with an open heart and an open mind. And once you ask, you must have the eyes to see and the ears to hear the answer, because you will receive what you ask for. But once you get it, the question is, are you going to now be courageous enough to walk in that truth?
Born and raised, I'm the Grand Sheikh of Moorish Science Temple of America, California, former Khalifa Council member, and I'm also the CEO of Moorish Science Temple of America, Inc., which is our charity that supports all our charitable works. This word right here was used up until the 1700s, before all the other words that we use to describe ourselves, right? Or to refer to our bloodline. Now let me show you something. Remember, 1700s, right? Understanding that the first dictionaries weren't compiled until 1735, right? By Nathaniel Bailey. So look at this. First we were Moor. Then we were Blackamoor. Now we just black. This word, Blackamoor, you can look it up in the dictionary. It illustrates the linguistic genocide, right? Linguistic genocide. There's a lot of different genocides. What we've suffered from is a linguistic genocide. It means that what they've done is they have removed all of the names or things that we could associate with that would bind us with our culture. Right. All right? So Moor has a legacy. And Moor is not just Muslim. You have Moors. Matter of fact, the first Moor to go into Spain was actually Hebrew. We know about the Muslim going to Spain and the Rock of Gibraltar, right, being named after Tariq. But the islands of Tarifa are named after Tarifa, which is the Moorish Hebrew that went in 1 year before Tariq. A lot of people don't know that. And that Moors and Hebrews and Christians in Spain, it was considered the golden years of Spain. Because we were all there, we didn't have any problem. You didn't find no jihads between Muslims, Christians, and Jews in Spain. Not melanated ones, right? That was the Europeans. So being a Moor historically has never kept us separated from whether you be Muslim, whether you be Hebrew, whether you be of not of any religion. Because the premise, remember, is not religion at all. It's nationality, it's bloodline, and it's connecting back with something that is real as opposed to the social constructs that they use to disenfranchise us. And the chattel terms that connect us to the legacy of slavery, and not just in a cultural or subcultural way. But you have to remember, if you're using the term black, if you're using the term Negro, they have laws for that. They got Negro Acts. They got the Black Code. So these things are codified, right? And when we're using it, we're using it as a term of endearment or something emotional. It's a part of our struggle now. So it is a valid term to use, but not in relationship to nationality. People say, Cosmo Hill, are you for black power? Yes, I'm for black power. And a lot of Moors get mad at me when I say that. But I'm for black power because the way to give power to blacks is to return them back to their original bloodline and culture so that they can be themselves. That's right. And so that, and aside from just knowing who we are and being ourselves, there's actually a jurisdiction that comes where you're able to now govern yourself. This is the key. It's not just about knowing who we are. It's not just about, oh, I have this term. It's about now you know who you are. Well, where's your nation? And are you moving as one, as a nation? It's about balance between us. But you'll see Allah referred to as He. We say that the higher self is Allah in man. But we also say that the higher self is the mother of virtues and the harmonies of life. So we don't shy away from father, mother, because we understand that these are only symbolic of the divinity and that they really have no bearing on the soul or on the spirit. They only have bearing in this physical dimension. And like I was saying yesterday, we get confused as to what the self truly is. The self is unseen. You've never seen yourself. When you look in the mirror, you don't see yourself. The self is who's talking to you in your head when you're talking to yourself.
That's right.
And you've never seen that. So that is the true you. And once we begin to realize that our true battles are not on the physical plane, but they're on the plane of soul and they're on the plane of spirit, then we won't have that issue no more. I can be confident in my gender and my gender role. Sister can be confident in her gender role. We can switch roles if we want to, right? You know, the sister Dazaline, she taught them how to fight. She taught them war. So a lot of times we have to switch those roles, but that doesn't necessarily mean that we seek to be that. We do what we have to do. And if it's the sister that is the one that is the more outgoing and earns, then I was a stay-home father for about 5 years. You know, I'm not now, but I was. And I did that, and I didn't have any problems with it, nor did my empress. So I think we need to kind of shy away from focusing so much on our physical, because it's our mentality that is causing all the problems. That the Moors took the Egyptian culture into Spain. We retranslated all the books in the language of Arabic, which was the lingua franca for us at that time. So this is from stolen legacy, not me. Right? I'm not saying that the Egyptian schools were closed and Egypt went into Mauritania and the Moors preserved the Egyptian school and spread it throughout the rest of the world and brought about modern civilization right now. I'm not saying. George E. M. James' stolen legacy is saying. So when we understand, and not only that, but we kept Egypt as a central authority.